perform overtime, so your application should be able to count number of hours, whatever overtime is there. So for that, you need to maintain the shift value, means how you will recognize whether it's now values, and the same thing should be stored in the database. Okay, so whatever value, sorry, whatever check-in time the user will use, so that value we need to specify within the particular database records. So you can say one, okay, good. So you can say one database table we will maintain to get update, like what number of employees are there and which particular employee record. You can say the employee ID, right? We will recognize the employee with the ID only, whatever name and all things. So the employee ID we need to use, and whatever number of time the person is going for check-in. So within the attendance, you need to specify check-in timing you need to maintain, check-out timing, and if any person is doing overtime. Okay, so any idea how we will recognize whether the person is doing overtime or not? Or if they are doing overtime, so how we will find out the number of hours for it? Any idea about? Yes, anyone?
Ma'am, but time, check-in time and check-out.
No, I'm talking about overtime. If user will do extra number of hours, so how we will find out the total overtime number of hours? How can we find out? See, within the database, we need to keep record of all those things. Whenever we are going for the attendance, like employee is going to check in and they will check out. So what exact timing is there of check-in, check-out, that we need to update. And if there is a policy for overtime, extra hours, whatever they are spending, so you need to keep the record of the same. So we need a database table, and within that we will update all these values. So of course the real-time tracker will be there. So whenever user will check in, they will go for check-in. So we will record the time for check-in, and once they will go for check-out, the same time we need to record, and that will be date-wise, right? Whatever particular date, check-in time, check-out time. But what if user is doing overtime? Then how we will? I mean, I'm just asking about the logic. How we can decide the number of hours as an overtime for any employee? Any idea about it? How can we decide it's an overtime value? Because suppose the person is going to check in at 9 a.m. Okay, and they will click check out at 9 p.m. So 9 to 9. So 9 to 9, 9 a.m. is in check-in time. 9 p.m. is in check-out time. But what about overtime? How we will decide whether it's an overtime or not? Yes, everyone, please come with your logic, because you have to maintain these all things. If our employee is doing overtime, you need to track the hours, what extra number of hours the person is spending. You need to keep track of record of this also. So how can we decide whether it's an overtime? Check-in time is 9 a.m., check-out time is 9 p.m. And now let me know whether it's an overtime or not. Yes, everyone. Okay, your friend, your family members, you heard the word, right? Today I did overtime, or in this week I'm doing overtime. How you? Yes, Vidya?
Yeah, ma'am. If the employee is working after 9 p.m., then it will come in overtime.
After
We
9,
need to consider duration.
if they are working after 9 p.m. 9, no, the checkout is at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. is not the checkout time. The employee is checking out at 9 p.m. It will include the time after checkout. No. If once the person will check out, that means the person done with the working hours of a particular day. Whenever the employee will click on check-in, Okay, so our new record will be updated in attendance log table. There, we are adding a new record where the employee ID and that employee ID, whatever employee is there, that employee ID is checked in on this particular time. Exact timing will be there. And once they will go for checkout, okay, so suppose it's 9 p.m. So whenever they will click on checkout, it will be considered, it will update the record for the checkout value. Value means the time, and that's it. Once the person will check out, that means we need to consider it as a total working hours of that particular date, because the date value again you need to maintain in your database table. So my question is, if the person will check out, then how we will decide is an overtime or not? Okay, Lishan, see, we have to go for overtime or not, that we will decide with the help of shift. Okay, shift means morning shift, evening shift, depends what particular organization company is there and how they are going for shift, is in morning only or evening or both, or you can say alternate. Sometime a person need to, employee is working for 1 week for morning shift and 1 week for evening. That depends, right? So how we will decide whether it's an overtime or not? So for that we need to maintain the record of shift also. So the shift is 9 to 6, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is one morning shift, and 6 or 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. That is other. So if the person is check-in with 9 a.m., okay, what the check-in, official check-in time is 9 a.m. And they are going to check in on that particular time. And suppose the shift, within the shift, the record is there 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. is in time. Okay, so that is our logic. Like after 6 p.m., if the person will continue with that time, with their on, so we are workers, so we will consider it's an overtime. But how we will do it by the code, right? How we will keep record of it. So for that, we need to maintain the shift values also. Okay, so we need to keep the record of shift. And whenever the person will go for check-in, and after that they will go for checkout, so we can count like the person checked in as the 9 a.m. and the timing of checkout, official timing is of 6 p.m. But the person is trying to check out at 8 p.m. So what happened? The official shift timing is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But the person is checking out at 8 a.m. So by this, we can calculate total extra working time overtime is 2 hours. Okay, so for that, we need to maintain the shift values also. Okay, clear? So overtime, you need to consider. For that, you have to go for shift. If there is no concept of overtime, the working time will be 9 to 6 p.m. only. Okay, suppose that kind of department is there where the overtime is not required. Never there is no policy of overtime, so they don't require to maintain the overtime values. So in that case, what will happen if the overtime concept is not there? So in that case, what will happen? The check-in time official is 9 a.m. and checkout time is 6 p.m. Now, if the employee is going to check out at 8 p.m., still it will be considered 6 p.m. Means it will not be considered as an overtime, because the department don't require the overtime. They are going for 9 to 6 p.m. And suppose at 6, it's not mandatory, like exact at 6 p.m. the person need to check out. Okay, but if overtime policy is there and they are going for checkout at 8 p.m., then you need to calculate it. If there is no concept of overtime policies, then suppose 6 p.m. is in, once the person is going to check out after 6 p.m. on or after 6 p.m., so you will consider the person worked for full time. And within your payroll service, because it's required to maintain the record from the attendance only, you need to calculate the payroll value, right? This logic is clear to everyone. Whatever number of days they were working, accordingly, you have to generate the pay slip. And you need to, the company need to pay for it. So you need to maintain the pay slip record. So for that, you need to calculate the total number of hours. Now listen carefully. If the overtime concept is not there and the person will check out, they will click on checkout button at 8 p.m. Still, you don't need to go for overtime. You don't need to calculate the number of hours, and the company don't need to pay for it. Means from the attendance service to the payroll service, you have to update the value, right? Your payroll service will fetch the data from attendance only to get idea what number total of hours or days are there, and accordingly they need to pay. I hope you all are getting, right? But if within your project requirement is asking for overtime, that time the shift is maintained or shift maintenance is required. Reason because you need to calculate the overtime value and how you are going to do that. So on the basis of shift timing, you can calculate the extra number of hours, and that will be considered as an overtime value. Okay, so the person is going to check out at 8 p.m. So total 6 to 8, 2 hours are there. So that will be added, or you can say that your database record will get updated for the 2 hours, and within your payroll service, the company need to pay for it. So your payroll service will calculate the total amount to pay. That will be based on total working hour or plus the overtime time. Okay, is it clear? Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. Fine. So these are concept. Now, how we are going to implement it? So attendance service, you need to maintain check-in, out, and overtime. And for that, within your database, you need to go for a table that will maintain all these record. And the timing is playing a very important role here, right? As we are aware, sometimes we need to, suppose you are asking for date of birth. You are not an astrologer, your application is not for astrology, so you don't require the timing there. But if you are working with astrology application, you have to go for that. Okay, so that depends. If date of birth we are asking or date of joining we are asking, so timing is not required. But once you will start to work with your attendance service, in that module, timing is playing a very important role. Because if the person is just on a leave for half day, so they need to log in. Suppose for the first inning, they are going for leave, and second inning, they will join. So suppose second inning will start after lunch break, right? So suppose it's 1 p.m. is there, and they need to go for check-in. And they just checked in at 3 p.m. So what we need to consider, the person is not joining on time. Okay, so that's how the timing is playing a very important role, because date will be for 24 hours. Between these 24 hours, where the person is checked in and where the person is going check out, on the basis of that, you need to maintain the payroll services. So that's why the timing is playing a very important role here. Okay, now the timing is playing a very important role, that is okay, but one more thing we need to consider once we will go for implementation of this thing, and that is about the real-time updation. Whenever the person will check in or check out, you need to maintain these record, you need to track them. And on the same basis, you have to update your database, and the notification should send to the particular employee. So these all things we need to maintain. And as I mentioned, timing is playing a very important role. So we need to do what? We need to implement these things within our Java application, and attendance service will be a different module. So we need to start from login. Once the person will log in within the application, so the login job will be your authentication. Sorry for the background disturbance. Here, within the login page, they will pass the credentials, whatever are there, and they will click on login button. Once they will click on login button, so now we covered that authentication service, like for the logins and sign up, log out. So you are aware your authentication service module is there to verify whether the person is logged in or not, or what credentials they are passing is a correct one, means within your database it is there. So whenever the user will go for login, they will send a request. And that request you are going to check by using the auth service. So you are having the auth service, a separate module for it. And within that, you check whether the credentials are correct or not. If the person is providing correct credentials, so you will generate a token, and that token you will pass as a response to the user. Now the person will go for check-in. Once they will go for check-in, that means now the time of another module of your project, and that will be attendance service, right? So it will come here, means after the authentication only, you will allow them for the check-in. So once they will go for check-in, means check-in will be considered another request, but that request will be for attendance service. So one separate module you are having, and within that we need to pass the Okay, now this is a separate module. Again, the separate module means a separate Maven project, and that Maven project is working with a Spring Boot framework. So within your attendance service, you have to go for controller, service, DAO, and if the configuration. Of course, the configuration is required with it with the Redis pub and sub, pub for publish, sub for subscribe. Okay, we will see what is that. Pub sub configuration Redis is required, and you have to go for SSE, server sent event. Okay, these two technologies we need to work for the implementation of real-time notification. So whatever required configuration will be there, you need to create a separate package with the name config, and you can put all those configuration related file within it. Okay, so attendance service will have their own DAO and service and controller and configuration and entity, of course. So once the request will be there, so how many different types of requests are possible? So the user can go for check-in. Okay, they will go for check-in, but wait, once they are going for check-in, so very first thing is common, and that will be the employee code. Because whatever check-in, whenever the check-in button will click from the front end to the back end, you will send a request by code, of course. And within that request, you will ask to, okay, now the person is checked in. Who is checking? So of course, the logged in person means authorized person is checking. So whatever request we will pass, actually it will not go directly here. The arrow symbol will be via authentication, where we are just going to check for the JWT token, right? If the token with the request they are passing, if it is correct, matched with our given one, so then only we will allow for it. So you can say via the authentication and authorization, the person is authorized for it, then only we will allow to pass the request. But the request needs a value that is common, and that is employee code. Means within one company, suppose 100 employees are there, and they all on daily basis, they all are going to click on check-in. Right, so once they will go for check-in with the API, you have to pass the check-in, the path I'm talking about endpoint, and with that one value you need every time, and that is the employee code. It's not about employee code, it's about a unique identifier. So employee code is there. Whoever is going to click on check-in, we will read the employee ID for that particular person, and by using that employee ID, we will update a new record. We will create a new record in attendance table, and for that particular employee ID, this is the check-in time, right? And next, after that working hour, they will click on checkout button. So the same person is clicking on checkout button. How can we recognize? So of course, we need to read the employee code of that person, right? So within the same table, whatever record is there for check-in, that will get updated for checkout time. Okay, and if special, you can say special hour or overtime hours are there. So for that, the related column you need to update. So few things we need to focus here. That means suppose on a particular date, the person is going to click on check-in. So behind the scene, a request will be passed with particular API / attendance / check-in / employee code. So suppose the employee code is 101. So user will click on employee code and they will get 101. And within the database table, by the code of attendance service, we are going to update that value. Means a new record will be generated, attendance and check-in. And suppose employee code is 101. So the person will click on there, and from here we will read the value of employee code. I hope you all remember with the path variable annotation, we are able to read that value. So we will read the value from here, which particular employee ID. And on the basis of that, within the attendance service, we will retry that employee ID. And on the basis of that, within the database table, we will update a new record for this particular employee code. This is the check-in time. Okay. And suppose once the person checked in and the new record is generated here for the particular employee code. That is 101. Okay. But once the check-in time is generated here, that means a new record is created. Suppose it's 9 a.m. It will be with the whole second and minute and second all value, but I'm not using here. Just for the explanation purpose, just assume it's a exact 9 a.m. is there. Okay, now a new record is generated in the attendance log table, and we are aware, okay, that particular employee ID checked in at 9 a.m. Now, suppose the same person is trying to click on check-in, means within the same date, they are going for check-in for the next time. So what we need to do? Yes, everyone, what logic we need to implement here? If the same employee ID is trying to check in for the second time in the same on the same date, then what we need to do? Should we create a new record in attendance table or what? Yes, any idea? What should do? We need to allow them to go for second time for the check-in, or we will do some other things by code. What do you think? What is your logic? Yes, Kaushal, correct. If the person is already checked in, so we will not create another record. So in that case, what we need to do? We need to let them know, like you already checked in on a particular date, so you can't go for it. Second, this is one possibility. Once the user will try to check in for the second time on the same date. So how you are going to react? I mean, what code will be there to handle this kind of scenario? Now, the second possibility is user checked in, but they just forgot to check out. If the person checked in, so you will consider the person is not absent, right? But once they forgot to check out, then you have to consider the person is absent. If according to the policy, if the person just forgot to check out, that checkout will work. Okay, if the overtime concept is not there, so that checkout will work for the whole day. Means still the whole day, it may be 11.59. Okay, because after that the date will change. So on that same date they can check out. But what if the person just forgot to check out? In that case, what we need to do? So the record is there. The record is there with the employee ID 101. And this is the check-in time. But what about the checkout? So what we will consider? We will consider the person forgot to check out, or maybe they just checked in and they are not working there. So we will consider them as an present or as an absent. So how we are going to keep the record of it? We will ask them, or within your dashboard, the employee is going to log in, so you will allow them to check the attendance, how they are going to check what number of days they were absent or they were present, and how many days they covered within a particular month. They need to do that, right? So on the dashboard, they will be able to get it. Whenever they will just forget to check out, they will get the update on their dashboard. That particular date you need to mark as an absent. Once the person will get idea, okay, they just forgot to check out on a particular date, and that's why it's absent. So what they need to do? They need to communicate with their manager, right? On that particular date, they were present, but they just forgot to update the checkout, and that's why it's showing as an absent. So for that, you need to allow them to update their checkout, or you can say to update their attendance manually. Means they can feel the time. Once by default they are doing it, means a button you will provide on the dashboard like check in and check out. So that time they don't need to update the value, means they just have to go for check in, click on check in and check out button, and that's it. So they are not calculating the value, means the system, the application is going to read the current value, whatever will be there for date and time. So it will be the real time and check in and check out. But once the person forgot to check out, that time you have to do what? You have to allow them to fill the attendance manually. Once I'm using the word manually, means for the checkout and check-in, the time will not be, you can say, collected automatically. That will not be live recording. that will be like you, means as an employee, you are going to fill the detail within the form, like on this particular date, this was my check-in time and this was my checkout time. You have to pass the data. Once you are passing like 9 a.m. was check-in time and 6 p.m. that time you are not recording it, okay, because the person need to fill it manually, like 6 p.m. was his or her checkout time, and then the manager will approve it. Okay, you were present on that particular date, you was not absent, so it will make it approved, and then only on the dashboard of that particular employee it will get updated as an present in place of absent. So this is how the things are working. But here you need to focus first on what if the real time notification you have to maintain. So that you can do with the help of SSE, that is server sent event. That is unidirectional communication between client and server. Okay, so the technology that we are going to use here, that will be SSE. And for the masses, because you need to pass the real-time tracking, and at the same time the notification at the same moment you have to get update, and on the dashboard of employee they will get update of the same. So for that we need to go with Redis pub sub. That pub sub means pub publish and sub for subscribe. Now please let me know, like conceptually this is clear to everyone, so we can start with our technical terms, what will be there and how to configure the things for your attendance service module. Okay, that's good. Thank you for reply. So now the next is, as I mentioned, SSE and Redis PubSub we need to use to maintain the real-time things. So SSE means server sent event. This is unidirectional communication. Unidirectional means always the server will send a message to the client. The bidirectional is not bidirectional means both are able to send the request or communication from both sides, client to server and server to client. But once we are talking about SSE, so it's an unidirectional. Means whenever any event will occur, a message from server to the client will be sent. So for example, you can say the person is going for checkout, check-in. So that time event will be occur, and that event will be of your attendance event. Attendance event is just a name. Okay, you can go for any name. Matter is what by the code you have to mention about the event. What particular event needs to get updated there or sent from the server to the client. Now, who is the client here? So it may be any web application, any different application. It may be your front end code also. Okay, so from the front end, on the front end, the dashboard will be there on an employee's screen, right? And they will click on check-in button or checkout button. So the same request with the endpoint slash API attendance check-in and with the particular employee code, it will send to the user, server, and where it will check for the authentication, whether the person logged in or not, and then it will go for the ID, whatever specific employee ID is given here within the request endpoint. And on the basis of that, it will update the database table. And at the same time, a message should be sent. What happened here? An event occur, and that is for the attendance event. Okay. So once the unidirectional, now here from the client to the server is not required. Every time from the server to the client, the event will be occur, and it will send from server to client all the time. Means the person is asking for check-in, check-out. So just consider an API is there. And by using that API, it will update the record, and at the same time, it will send the notification, the event back to the client. It will be like a message for the check-in, check-out, and it will get updated on the dashboard to the user, because on the front end, you will receive it as a response of your request. Okay. Now, the second one is Redis PubSub. PubSub means publish and subscribe. So you, for example, you can consider like two entities are there. Okay, this is for the explanation purpose only. Later we will see by code, means everything, whatever things we are implementing, everything is just line of code, right? But just to make you aware how the things are working, we are using like two entities are there. You can consider A and B. So these two entities are there. One is publisher and one is subscriber. Now the subscriber word is common for all. We are aware what the meaning of the subscriber, right? Yes or no? Who is subscriber? To whom we can consider as a subscriber? Yes, everyone, please let me know. What you are aware with the word subscriber, or publisher also, but at least come with the subscriber, because I hope you all are aware with this term. No idea? Never heard the term subscriber? Is it like that? Not aware what is subscriber term? Okay, Nisa, almost correct. Yes, Kaushal, like customer. Yes. So subscriber means a person who is authorized to access some services. That will be subscriber. Okay. And publisher means who is providing the service. And that service may be of any kind. Like, for example, any course is there, and that is not freely available on a particular, any site is, for example, only. And you can go with the OTT example also. We already covered that OTT example, right? Yes, yes, Vidya, correct. With the subscription, the user can access more feature. So subscriber is not any person. Okay, subscriber is an ID. ID is an ID that is authorized for a particular service. So that ID is a subscriber. Okay, publisher means that entity which is providing that service. Okay, so the communication is required between these two. Whenever the publisher will send any message or any service they will provide, the subscriber will accept that, or they will use the service. That kind of relation should be there between publisher and subscriber. Okay, so what publisher is providing, subscriber is aware. Like, okay, for example, we are using any OTT platform and you are having a subscription for a particular. So that time you are aware whatever content you are giving, publisher is a particular OTT platform, right? Within that only we are able to access the content. It's not like you are having subscription of one OTT and you can go for another. So that time as a subscriber, you are aware with the publisher also. Who is providing the content? You are aware with that platform, right? I'm not talking about the person, it's about platform. So whatever platform is there, you are aware with the publisher who is providing the services, and you are the subscriber. So you are using the content, or you can say services, whatever provided by the publisher. So in that case, the publisher is aware with subscriber and the subscriber is aware with the publisher. Okay, so now consider that publisher and subscriber like two different entities, and there is a communication between these two. So one is what the publisher is doing, they are providing message. What the subscriber is doing, they are receiving the message. You can say just like an article book, monthly any article book is, a person is subscriber for a particular article book on monthly book, ebooks, or you can say manual books we are using. So every month they will get that book, they will receive that book, and the publisher is going to publish it and the subscriber will receive it. So the same pattern we are following. That time the publisher is aware with subscriber and the subscriber is aware with publisher. But what? If the publisher is just publishing the masses, they don't have any idea who is subscriber there. Okay, it's just like the publisher is providing the services and the role of the publisher is just to provide the service. That's it. Okay, without getting any information of the subscriber. Now the subscriber is doing what? They are just subscriber of a particular platform, and within that platform, okay, you can consider one simple example so you will get better idea. Suppose we are having one subscriber OTT, and that OTT is, you can say, is having content from multiple different OTT platform. It's a general platform which is having different OTT subscription, or you can say that OTT is providing content of different OTT. You can say it's a single platform where we can get all of. Okay, so suppose 3 different OTT content is there, and that all content you can get within the single OTT platform. So this platform will be like a publisher. Okay, so that word is pub sub is published and subscribed. So that OTT may be any, but it's a publisher and it's providing the content of different OTT. But wait, the main point is what? Once they are providing the content, so with that content, the publisher is not mentioning his content from OTT A, it's content from OTT B. It's not like that. They are just providing, okay, you are having, you are just viewing the content of this particular, but they are not providing the name of OTT. Subscriber is only interested to get the content. That subscriber is just not interested to know the from which particular platform they are getting the content. It may be from A, it may be from B, it may be from C. But the publisher is just not interested to share the detail of the OTT platform. They are just providing the content directly without specifying about the OTT, the source of content, you can say. Okay, so any number of OTTs are possible within this publisher platform, and they may be of the source of the content may be a different OTT platform, but the publisher is doing what? They are providing the content via only one source, and that is the publisher. That's it. So you are a subscriber of this particular platform, so you will get the subscription of it and you will start to view the content. So that content is ABC, but you just don't have any idea that, okay, for example, the content you are viewing is from OTT Netflix, is from OTT Hotstar, it's from OTT Video Prime. So which particular source is there for the content, you don't have any idea. Okay, and that OTT publisher is, suppose is a name of it. So the publisher having content from the different OTT platform, and it will providing the content by its own name. They are not providing the actual source name of it. So that's why whatever number of subscriber will be there, they are just not aware who is providing the source actually, or you can say who is the actual source of any content. They are just interested to view the content only. Okay. So in that case, you can say like there is a no coupling between the publisher and subscriber. And in the same way, whatever number of subscribers are here, the publisher is just not interested to know. Whenever a new content will be there, the publisher is going to update that content. It will upload that content on it and it will update the dashboard. Now this content is newly available. And the subscriber is going to view that content. There is no communication between publisher and subscriber. Okay, publisher don't have any idea how many subscribers are there and how many entities or subscriber are viewing their masses or content. And at the same time, the subscribers are just interested to receive the content. That's it. They don't have any idea, or they don't interested to know what the source is there for the content. Now just replace that content with the masses or notification, you can say. Okay, so by code, you have to define, you have to configure one publisher in your attendance service. And that publisher will publish the messages, means notifications. And you need to configure the subscriber also. And that subscriber will receive the notification. So who will be the publisher? So whenever the person within the attendance service, front end I'm talking, the dashboard will be part of front end code, right? So from the front end dashboard, the user will go for check-in, check-out, right? Or they just forget to check out, they checked in only. So you need to update the attendance that as an absent. So these all things you will do at the real time, they will get the update on it. And you are going to capture the real time data and you will update your database record. So who will be the publisher? Your service will be the publisher. And who will be the subscriber? So the client will be the subscriber. Okay, so here from the server, we are going to maintain one attendance, one event with the name attendance event. So what we need to configure? We need to configure the publisher. We need to configure the subscriber. And these are both behaving like a client. Publisher will send a message and your service will be responsible to send the service. And the subscriber will receive the message. Okay, every time. But once the publisher is sending a message, they don't have any idea who will receive the message. Okay, just like the publisher OTT platform is just uploading the content without being aware who is watching it, who is viewing it. They don't have any idea and they are not interested to know. They are just uploading the content there on the platform. Same way in our cases, if we are going for attendance service, so we are just interested to send the masses of update like check-in, check-out and the attendance, without being aware which particular employee ID is receiving it, means which particular authenticated authorized person or user is receiving it. Whenever updation will be there, you need to send the message. Okay, and whatever particular employee ID will be there, on the basis of that, they will issue the update, means notification or message, you can say. In the same time, whatever client or you can say user is receiving the notification or message, they just don't have any idea who is sending the message. Okay, so two clients are there. One is publisher, one is subscriber. All time the publisher will send the message. They will send the real-time notification and subscriber will receive the notification. But there is no communication between these two. Okay, they are not communicating each other directly. This service is going to play a role like a bridge. So whenever the person will go for check-in or check-out, real-time updation notification will be there, but there is no communication between these two. So you can say the term we are using, that will be decoupling. Okay, so the concept of coupling is there. That coupling means a type of communication we are establishing between two entities. Decoupling means there is no any communication between two entities. Okay, so that is about concept of Redis PubSub, where we need to focus on the configuration, because once the configuration is done properly, so the implementation is easy. You need to go for controller and there you are going to define the APIs of it, and accordingly have to pass the request from the postman and it will update there, and at the same moment you will send a message. Okay, you means the publisher. By the code, the publisher is going to, the class will send the message, and for that you have to define one method with on message name. And whatever message you want to pass, that you need to specify there. And whenever the event will occur, at the same moment, the message on message method will go for execution and it will send a message. So these all things, whatever I tried to cover with the explanation, these all things we need to update with the code. Everything is just line of code only. Now, please let me know conceptually it is clear about these things that we are going to use. So practically we can start with the implementation. And if it is completely new, so please read some related article for SSE and Redis PubSub, publisher and subscriber. Go for the concept of publisher and subscriber, then you will get better idea about. So let's do one thing. Today, whatever update you are doing for your project, let's continue with that. And at the same time, read some related article for it. So you will get better idea on how the things are working. And in next session, we are going to implement these things, means how the publisher and service things we have to implement. So by the code we will see, and for that some dependencies will be required. Okay, so in next session we are going to work on this check-in and check-out, and at the same time we will try to cover the overtime also. Okay, logic we already discussed, so that we need to update there. So whenever it will count with a shift, and we will get the according the value. Okay, so the implementation we will do next session. And please make sure if you are getting the pubs of concept for the first time only, so it will be better if you will read some related articles on it. Okay, fine. So that's enough for today's session. Damini, for the front-end task, we need to start in next month. Okay, first we need to cover the backend code only. So the Postman we are using to send the API request, right? But if within your team as a member, you have to work with the front end only. So I hope the project essentials should get updated on dashboard. Okay, I will try to find out what the reason why it is not updated there. So in next session, I will update on you. So you can start with the front end also. But in first month, we need to go for backend code, and then in second, we will come with front end. Okay, fine. So that's enough for today's lesson.